Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, your everyday Rangers news channel here with a transfer news update, guys. A few things swirling around on social media this morning and in the press. Like, I know social media is not always the greatest place, but you never know. You never know what these links could be. And especially as some of these have not yet been denied, especially as Rangers seem to love that. We're not interested. No, we're not interested in him. No, we're not interested in him. No, we don't want him. Mover. We've got news about Barisic and a possible new deal, which I personally think is an absolute disgrace. News about Emmanuel Dennis, who is one link that has not as yet been denied by the club, and given the fact that he has history with Philippe Clement, could be a possible. Looks like Ridvan is closer to moving Hellas to Hellas Verona, but not for the original terms that we first considered. More of that to come. And as well as that, some news about a Croatian midfielder who has been linked with a move to Rangers. And we've got some facts, stats, and details about him. Well, let's start off with the news about Ridvan Yilmaz, first of all. Now, Ridvan obviously has been rumoured to be on his way out of Ibrox for quite a while now, since the January transfer window opened. Talk of Turkish clubs been interested in taking him back to Turkey, but then it emerged that Hellas Verona, who look like they're going to lose Scottish left back, Josh Doig, are very heavily interested in Ridvan Yilmaz. Now, at the start of the week, the reports seem to indicate that Ridvan would be on the move to Hellas for around £3 to £3.5 million. Now it has emerged today that any deal that is done with Hellas Verona will be done on a loan with an option to buy at the end of it. So it looks like Ridvan will be departing on loan. Now, this has some positives and it has some negatives to it. Obviously, the positive is that if he goes there, if he performs very well, that it could vastly increase his price tag, meaning that, of course, that £3 to £3.5 million could increase to £4 to £4.5 million or even £5 million, which would obviously be good for the club. On the negative side of it, it does, of course, mean that we will not have any funds coming into the club. That £3 million that may have been earmarked for a signing will not be coming in. Now, yes, it does free up the wages if obviously Hellas Verona are taking on 100% of Ridvan's wages. And I think that seems to be the way the club are going at the moment, very much more about recycling wages rather than selling players. So there is kind of, for me, a little bit of a question of, is that good business? Does that make good business sense? You know, if Ridvan does have a future at the club, then, you know, is it right to loan him out? But then again, I suppose, you know, there is a positive, like I said, that if he goes there, if he performs well, if he shows out well in this second half of the season, they may well obviously come back with a more substantial bid for him, and we can obviously demand a lot more money for him. So that's the first rumor that is currently going around, or not rumor, I think report. It pretty much looks to be done according to a number of the media reports coming out. Now, this is the next rumor is obviously surrounds Borna Barisic. Now, I know Borna Barisic is someone who divides the fan base. Look, I don't think. I do think that giving Borna Barisic a new contract is a huge error. Yes, I can understand, obviously, with Ridvan Yilmaz possibly losing two left backs in one window could be an issue. But, you know, if Rangers go out and sign another left back, the fact that Sterling can play there, Devine can play there, you know, even Ben Davies to some extent can play there. It is, for me, a mistake. The defence needs a huge overhaul. The defence needs to be reworked. It is aging. Borna Barisic is 32 years old. He is far too negative. He passes the ball back far too much. He seems to bottle it every time he goes to Parkhead. His crossing is predictable. His set piece delivery is poor. To me, it's just a massive error to be giving this man a new contract. I don't see any positives in it. I think, you know, if we can get a little bit of money for him now, in January, certainly. But, you know, look, does giving him a new contract mean we're going to be able to sell him for any more money in the summer? No, it doesn't. It doesn't guarantee anything. So, you know, the news that Borna Barisic is going to be offered a new contract, to me, is just absolutely dreadful news and a real negative backward step by the club. You know, like I said, this defense is getting old. It needs overhauling. It needs to be reworked. It needs to be worked upon. So at the end of the day, for me, giving Borna Barisic a new contract is an absolute disgrace and just not a good move by the club at all. Don't rate the guy. I think he was good in 55. You know, for me, it is it is an absolutely awful move, to be giving him a new contract. It just smacks of desperation. At the end of the day, it may be that, of course, this is being done because we can't land our left back targets because A, we haven't got the money, or B, the players don't want to move. That could be in a situation. Obviously, Josh Doig was linked, Smile was linked, Kai Wagner was linked. All these players that were linked now, it does seem the club have sort of denied a lot of these rumours, and it does seem that a lot of these players are not ready to move yet. It looks like obviously Josh Doig will be going to Marseille or to Torino. They have more funds than Rangers certainly do at the moment. Marseille had an initial £4.2 million bid for the player, rejected. So it does look like that Verona are looking for somewhere in the region of 5.2, 5.5 million for him, which I don't think Rangers will spend on a left back. You've then obviously got added to the fact that he's small. The rumours is that he's been offered a new improved contract by Twente and he is considering it. So look, this is the situation we're in. Maybe it is the fact that we have no choice but to do this, but I still think it is a huge backward step by the club. Not a good move at all to allow to give Borna Barisic a new contract. Like I said, there's too many negatives. He has been a great servant for the club, don't get me wrong. During 55, he was a great player, but in the last couple of years, he has just gone backwards and massively backwards. He doesn't take his man on anymore. Like I said, his crosses are so predictable. Now, everyone knows that all Borna is going to do is just lob the ball into the box. It is wholly predictable and not effective. So for me, disappointing news and not a great move. I certainly hope that it is just a rumour and it does not come through. Now, the other story is surrounding Emmanuel Dennis. Now, this is a player who has been previously linked with a move to Rangers. Emmanuel Dennis is someone who, like I said, this rumor has not been denied, and the club do seem to be, very much moving on the fact that when a rumor comes out, that if it is not true, they deny it. They come straight out and say, no, it's not happening. Dennis is one that they have not denied as yet. There are strong rumors this morning that there is a possible deal in the pipeline for Emmanuel Dennis. I mean, Dennis had one good season at Watford, did okay at Bruges. But, he is someone who has a very patchy goals record. Yes, I know he's a wide player rather than a centre forward, but he can play as a centre forward. He averages 1 goal every 4.8 games. Just out of matter of reference, Abdallah Sima averages 1 every 2.7. Sam Lammers, who's departed the club now, averages 1 every 3.2, and Cyril Dessers averages 1 every 2.9, I think it is. So even those players have better goals per games ratio, and most Rangers fans wouldn't rate Dessers and Lammers at all. And obviously, Seema is more a comparable player. He's a wing forward. His goals per game average is a hell of a lot better than Emmanuel Dennis. There's obviously as well question marks over Dennis's character. Lots of reports coming out of Nottingham Forest and even from Bruges as the fact that this guy has a massively huge overinflated ego of himself, as well as the fact that he is a player who has in the past, massively overreacted to ridiculous situations. Like, for example, when one of his colleagues sat in his favourite seat, apparently he blew up. I mean, this guy does seem to have a major attitude issue. You've got to kind of question, yes, Philippe Clement is a great manager, but can he settle this player down? Is he the sort of player we want at Rangers? Personally speaking, I don't think it's a good move. I've spoken to some Forest fans where he currently is. They absolutely detest the guy. They think he's an absolute joke. I don't think this is a positive move. If it comes off, again, another bad move. It kind of starts to question, doesn't it? Why have we learnt nothing from the summer? Why are we bringing in misfiring players who are not in form? Is it because we can't afford players who are in form? Or is it because, there is genuinely, the scouting at this club is genuinely poor? I don't know what it is. But for me, Emmanuel Dennis would be a dreadful signing for the club. And I certainly hope that one is not done and dusted anytime soon. Okay, so moving on, a rumor, and obviously I'm getting ready, obviously, for the "it's not true" coming out, is around this guy here, Marko Bulat, who is a Croatian international, young player, 22, would certainly fit the player trading model. Very skillful, very good quality player. From Sivnik in Croatia, he's 1.78 meters tall, so just short of 6 foot. He is an attacking midfielder, stroke defensive midfielder, can play in both positions. Right-footed, currently with Dynamo Zagreb. Is under contract, however, till 2027. Its transfer market value is around 3.5 million at this moment in time. That obviously could vary. Apparently, the club looking for somewhere around about 4.5 million for him, but he does seem a very skillful, high-quality player. As yet, the rumor hasn't been denied, but I am obviously steadying myself ready for that rumor. In terms of this guy's career, he started his youth career at Sibnik, before going on to play for Dynamo Zagreb, where he has had Champions League qualifier, Europa League and Conference League experience. He's played throughout all the Croatian underage groups and is tipped for a move up to the full Croatia squad ahead of the Euros. He's an under 16, under 17, under 18, under 19, under 20 and under 21 player. Very talented, very skillful indeed. If you look at some of his stats, Super Sport League, which is the main league, he's played in 53% of their starting 11s, had 50% of the minutes, 16% goal contribution rate in only that limited time, which is very impressive. 12 appearances this season, 3 goals from midfield, 2 assists. That's 5 goal contributions in 12 games, which is very impressive indeed. In the Europa League qualifying, he made 2 appearances, starting both the games. Moving on to the Conference League, where he's currently playing for Zagreb. He's made 6 appearances, scoring 1 goal. He's played in 83% of the starting 11s, 10% goal contribution, playing 63% of the minutes. He also participated in the Champions League qualifiers, where he did score a goal in 3 appearances. So, he's got a decent track record there of scoring goals or creating chances. Seen as a very young, promising player, up and coming, certainly someone who has a bright future ahead of him and would perfectly fit this trading model if that is something we are looking to institute, which we are being told time and time again is something that Niels Koppen has been brought in for. So personally speaking, I think Bulat would be a good signing. Yes, we may have to bargain the price down a little bit, but would be a great one to get over the line. And let's face it, in the past, Croatian players, Nikita Jelavic, for example, have had great track records at Rangers. So, that could be a real positive. I certainly hope there's some truth in this one. There's some legs in this one. I am waiting for later this afternoon, obviously, to all be denied by the club. Guys, let me know what you think of these stories as regards Borna, as regards Ridvan, as regards Emmanuel Dennis, and as regards Bulat as well. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, if you can smash the sub, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Help the channel to keep on growing. But on the way out, I always ask 2 things of you. 1, smash the like. And number 2, always remember, we are the people.